It is October 21st, 2020, episode 6 of The Take coming up next. Before you do anything, please give our channel a like and a subscribe right down below. We are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so we are full audio now, as well as on YouTube right here. And also, please give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter. The Take is coming up next. The World Series is here, and I got off to a bang last night. Dodgers took game 1 from the Tampa Bay Rays. Two juggernauts of each league, both number 1 seeds of this year in the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL coming out of the AL East. Dodgers coming out of the NL West. These were the two best teams from start to finish in the regular season. There really wasn't any, questioning how these teams were going to end up getting here. Obviously, there was some bumps in the road. Dodgers had to come back of the championship series down 3-1. Tampa took 2 winner-take-all games in the DS and the CS. But again, these two teams are the best two teams in the league. There is no question. And the Dodgers took game 1 with authority. Their bats came alive. Their pitching was really really good. Dave Roberts clicked every right button. I think Kevin Cash kind of left Glasnow in a little too long, didn't get his bullpen going. And usually Cash is a guy that gives himself, hey, even if it's our best guy and I feel that any type of reliever is ready to go, I'll pull you quick. It doesn't really matter. They have a plan there in the Tampa Bay dugout. They are really smart. And I mentioned it on Instagram, the keys to this series. I thought one was going to be defense, and we saw some great defense yesterday in the outfield, on the infield. I think both these teams are the best defensive teams in the league. You have Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger in the outfield for LA. You have Kevin Kiermaier, Manuel Margot in the outfield, Adames Wendell on the infield for Tampa Bay. And I really think that one of the best plays, Bellinger made another leaping catch at the wall. But when it was 8-3, the Tampa Bay Rays had a few runs in already, first and second, 1 out. Victor Gonzalez comes up. He's been struggling, walked a few batters, gave up a few singles. Zunino hits this rope up the middle. He snags it for the out. This ball probably came off the bat at around 100 miles an hour. He catches it right here, turns around to second, and doubles off Brasso at second base and to get out of the inning. It was 8-3, easily with 1 out. Could have been 8-5. Tampa Bay was making it a game in that 7th inning towards the end. The bullpen, though, was my number 2. Tampa Bay bullpen, the best bullpen in the league that they've been showing, didn't show up. They came in. Yes, Glasnow didn't have his best stuff, and again, he looked gassed towards the end. He threw 112 pitches. Again, I think Cash probably should have brought in Yarbrough a little bit earlier, but the bullpen didn't strand an inherent runner. Glasnow ended up getting charged for 6 runs. They couldn't stop the damage, and Dave Roberts, he clicked all the right buttons, and it ended up being an 8-3 final. And now Kevin Cash has to see, how much can I get with Blake Snell today? Is he going to go more than 5? Am I going to pull him a little early like I did the last time he started, where Snell was pretty ticked off, and maybe a lot of fans and people watching didn't really understand what Cash's motive for bringing Castillo against Houston. But again, that's a whole different story. Hitting with runners in scoring position. Tampa Bay walked so many Dodger hitters last night. Dodgers at bats were way better. They ended up coming through with 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Will Smith got a big hit for LA to just continue to extend the lead. This could have been a 3-1 game going to the 7th. It ended up being 6-1. And I think a 5-run lead throughout the series is almost an impossible deficit to come back from, especially on Tampa Bay's side. Tampa Bay is realizing now that this lineup is the best lineup that they're going to be seeing all year. This is not the New York Yankees lineup. If you thought the Yankees were, this, I guess, juggernaut type of lineup, the Dodgers 1 through 9 is without a doubt the deepest and best lineup you're going to get. Dave Roberts has last year's MVP and Cody Bellinger batting 6th in the order. You start with Mookie Betts at the top, Corey Seager, who just won the NLCS MVP. Max Muncy's always a threat to go deep. Will Smith, who's been hitting the ball insane throughout the entire postseason. This team is so deep. And obviously, you got Justin Turner, a guy that is the Dodgers. Dodgers franchise leader in RBIs in the postseason. He's had that many games, and he's only been there for 5-6 years. The amount of time that he's gone through with the Dodgers in postseason and how he's come through, this team is deep. And now up 1-0. Kershaw. There's another thing. A lot of people going, who are we going to see last night? Kershaw being, the playoff Kershaw. His World Series ERA career is in the fives. It's in, the top 5 worst ERAs with minimum 25 innings pitched. I think this narrative has been dragged out so long. Postseason Kershaw, is he gonna blow it? Who are we gonna see? He was phenomenal last night. That's the best I've probably seen Clayton Kershaw in the postseason in recent memory. He was that good. So the first inning, walked the bat, gave up a hit. He was in trouble in that first inning. And I felt like, and even John Smoltz said this on the broadcast, if the Rays were not going to score at least one in that inning, he was going to cruise. Because, they worked early at bats quick. His changeup was not being located. It's not what you usually see. A lot of things were spiked in the dirt. And he still got out of it. And he ended up cruising. And he only threw 78 pitches. Roberts ended up taking him out after one of the long innings by the Dodgers offense when they ended up making it 8 runs. They're like, all right, hey, we're up. At the time, we're up 8-1. I think we're good. Great job. The bullpen came in again. That without a lucky play, good reaction, who knows? We could be talking a completely different story with Roberts pulling Kershaw too early, giving the ball to the bullpen too early, and this Dodgers bullpen kind of unraveling as we've seen it unravel throughout the course of the season, especially this postseason. And I added a fourth, key to this, and it was kind of similar to the Heat and Lakers series about a player. For me, it's Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is without a doubt the best player on the field, and it's not even close. His difference making on the base paths, defensively, offensively, he stole 2 bases last night, scored 2 runs, hit a home run, and he's an elite Gold Glove caliber defender. And we saw that all throughout the NLCS, him robbing baseballs, leaping grabs, robbing home runs. He's the best player on the field, and there's no question. And obviously, we've seen one game, and the Dodgers won, and the kind of game he had. I think if the Dodgers win, which now that they got game 1, I'm starting to rethink that the only way the Rays do win this series is if it goes to 7. Because if you say Rays in 6, you think that Tampa's going to win, 4 out of the next 5. I don't see that happening. So I feel if the Rays want it, if the Rays get it, it would be through 7. But now with the Dodgers having game 1, if the Dodgers win, they could sweep. They could win in 5. If they give the Rays a few games, they win in 6. If the Dodgers win, this ain't going to 7. I don't think there's a shot. I think they can make this a really quick series, especially how they ended up hitting up on Glasnow. But out of those 4, the Dodgers did everything better last night. Their defense was better. Their bullpen was better. They hit better. The Rays lineup is interesting because I feel it's more of like streaks. That lineup, there's not a crazy amount of dangerous pieces. The hot bat is obviously Randy Arozarena, of course. You have good hitters that have the capability of hitting out of the park, but when it comes to names like Betts and Bellinger, Corey Seager, these are guys that are coming up to plate every single time, and you're wondering, am I pitching to them at all times, or am I working around them to give them a walk just to move to the next guy? Tampa does not have those names, those types of bats that we could honestly see the Dodgers just outscoring Tampa every single game, and they could get a World Series ring very quick. Tonight, though, it's Blake Snell against Tony Gonsolin. Snell, if he could repeat a performance like he did in his last start against Houston in that ALCS, I think he'll be in good shape. He's going to go deeper in this game. I think Cash will allow him to go deep enough. This is his veteran, just like Charlie Morton. He trusts him on the mound. This is a former Cy Young winner. He's getting the ball tonight. Hey, stud, ace, can you get us a win? We got to make this series 1-1 or we could be in trouble. Now, Gonsolin, on the other hand, had a great start. The first, he threw 3 perfect innings, and then the Braves really hit him around, knocked him around. I wonder how long Dave Roberts allows Gonsolin to go. I think that if he's cruising, you get 5 or 6 out of him. If he gets roughed up, you might see 3 out of him, and then he might go to Urias, maybe Dustin May, something like that. We might see that type of 3-3-3 or 3-4-2 out of the Dodgers bullpen. I'm sure Roberts wants to avoid using some guys out of the bullpen, does not want to be overusing too early in this series. If you saw the eye test, the Dodgers are without a doubt a better team right now. But as we've seen, Game 1, obviously, it's a great start, is not the end. This is a 7-game set, best of 4. We'll see, obviously, tonight. We'll see tomorrow. This series finally has off days in it. It's a regular, they don't travel, but teams are actually going to get a rest after, it being 2-3-2. So we will see. I know I'm going to backtrack from last week. I said Rays, doesn't matter who they face. It's going to be the Rays. It's going to be the Rays. I'm starting to think a little different now. This Dodgers team is really good. This is the take. Who do you have winning this year's World Series? We'll be right back. All right, let's talk some NFL. I mean, how many times can I come on the show and say that the Jets stink? They're on the clock. They're 0-6. They're never going to win a game this year. They're not winning a game this year. They're just not. Giants got their first dub. They sneak out with the 20-19 win against the Washington football team. Bills lose their second straight. They're now 4-2. Still lead that AFC East. I still think that they're the best team in that division, without a doubt. Patriots, they lost to Denver. Cam didn't have a great showing throwing the ball. He had 2 picks. They're 2-3. I think the Bills are okay, though. Jets, though, on the clock. 0-6. I don't see them winning one game this year. Not one. They're not good. And even if they get the first pick, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is coming out of Clemson. He's going to stay there. Why would he come to the Jets and get basically swapped or put into the same spot that Sam Darnold's in? Now, Sam Darnold, I think the only criticism you can have about Sam is that he hasn't been on the field in the last 2 seasons. The mono last year, AC joint now. He's missed 2 weeks. He probably is going to miss next week also. But I don't see Trevor Lawrence coming out to play for the Jets. They don't have anyone. No pieces. They still won't have any pieces for him. Giants get their first W, like I said. I mean, they played Washington. I don't know what you can come away with that win. Cool, they got a win. Congrats, Big Blue, for your victory Monday. You got one. The Bills are more interesting for me at 4-2. They've lost their last 2 games to 2 good teams, right? And a lot of people thinking, hey, the Bills might be one of the best teams in the AFC. I still think that. Their defense now, though, is just not playing well. Really bad. They can't stop the run right now for anything. And I think a big reason is not having Matt Milano in at the linebacker position. As a lot of people say, their corners are really shut down. Tre'Davious White, and even Josh Norman's been playing okay, not great, but Tre'Davious White did not play well against Kansas City on Monday night. It's apparent without the presence of Matt Milano there, and with that interior in the box, they have no one to stop the run. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran for 160 yards. Chiefs as a team ran for over 250. I mean, it was embarrassing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was averaging over 8 yards a carry. You cannot win that way. You won't win that way. And I think, not that they're going to, collapse or anything. I still think the Bills are a solid, I think they still are a 9-win, 10-win team, especially with their schedule. They're still a good team. Josh Allen, this offense is still very good. And I think, on the other hand, stopping the run, they have to learn to run the ball again. Singletary hasn't done anything the past few weeks. His yards per carry are around 2.5. That's not going to get the job done. Allen's still using his feet. He threw the ball around on Monday. It was rainy, sure. Him and Mahomes, the beginning was really rough. First half was not good football. Just looked like there was no flow to the game, nothing like that. Bills fans, if you're watching, you guys will be fine. I know in the back of your head, you're probably going, we've seen this before. Great start. Collapses happen and you don't make it. This team is still a good football team. This team is still a playoff team. Do not worry. Don't forget, you played the Jets again, right? You played the Dolphins. Like your division's not very good, and I think that you guys are still better than the Patriots. So I still think there's two wins at least out of those three. You guys are fine. So the AFC East, they're not good. I think besides the Bills, and maybe you could say the Patriots with the COVID effect. Cam first start back, a little choppy, not in rhythm. Of course you could say that. Now the other Eastern division in the NFC, the other conference, they're absolutely abysmal. They stink. This is a division that you could say stinks. They've always stunk. They're not good. The division winner is always an under 500 team. And that's another reason what they got to change. Division winners cannot be top 4 seeds in playoff format. They got to be the best 4 teams. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing the winner of that division hosting a playoff game. Cowboys could host a playoff game. God, the Giants can win this division and make the playoffs. I'll show you. So the actual Monday Night Football game that happened on ESPN, that was the Cowboys. Andy Dalton first start in after Dak's horrific injury last week, faced the Cardinals. Cardinals are a really good team. At 3-2, they're better than their record showed, and they absolutely decimated the Cowboys, ripped up that defense. Another defense. That defense sucks. That defense stinks. They can't do anything. Their cornerback's terrible. They allowed Kyler Murray to run around the field, throw a few bombs, and, to Christian Kirk, quick 80 yards. Thanks. Touchdown. See you later. They can't hold on to the football either, Dallas. Zeke. Within the first 14 plays they ran on offense, Zeke, 2 fumbles, both led to touchdowns. You're not going to win that way at all. Also, Andy Dalton didn't even look like he was, ready to play. And I think that has to do with the coaching staff. Mike McCarthy, not a good coach. The rest of his guys, they're not good. Totally unprepared. They got completely outcoached. The scheme that they were running, they couldn't stop the Arizona offense. Arizona defense, too, played outstanding. 2 fumble recoveries, a few picks here, a few sacks. They were all over. Dalton was not comfortable in the pocket once. Now I'll give you it. Michael Gallup dropped a touchdown before that first half that really could have turned the tides on the game. I get that. But this Cowboys team at 2-4 leading this division are not good right now. They need help. Their offensive line banged up. Really tough. And I think you lost Zach Martin on Monday to the possible concussion. As the best O-line, they're hurt all over. So I don't even know where this offense goes, but they looked unprepared. They didn't adjust during the game. Kyler Murray, who had a completion percentage well under 50%, he started off, didn't look like, he looked like he was pretty, jitters were there. He came into that game, he's from hometown guy, undefeated at AT&T from, winning a high school championship. I'm sure his nerves were there. Hey, I'm back at AT&T Stadium. I got to have a good game. He started off very, very rocky, but settled in, got the ball going downfield, hit his receivers, and he ran all over this defense. All right, so he's complete. Can he throw the ball consistently? We don't know that. He can slide, though. He knows how to slide. That first-round draft pick. ESPN, they made sure they told you about that. They told you, oh, look at that slide. He's a baseball player. That's cool. Awesome, bro. You're still a quarterback. I don't care if you can slide or not. Joe Burrow still can't slide, and he's getting made fun of it. Who cares? Who cares about it? Who cares? Doesn't matter. They got the job done, though, 4-2. Cardinals are a really interesting team because their defense is still very good. They have, bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, some great weapons with him, Kirk. You got Isabella, who is a great, speedy receiver. And then, behind you have Kenyon Drake, who had a great game against the Cowboys. And even the backup Edmonds, he can give Drake a few snaps on the sideline, and he can get the job done. A lot of balance, and we're seeing now with Cliff Kingsbury coming in here with Kyler year 2. They're starting to put pieces together. They're starting to have this offense that you thought they were gonna have. It's hard when you're behind a Seattle Seahawks team that are true Super Bowl contenders, have the front runner for MVP in Russell Wilson. This division now, that NFC West, is very, very interesting because you have the Rams who lost to the Niners. We don't know, with the Niners being all battered and injured, they still got the job done against LA on Sunday night. We're going to see this entire division's really good. Probably the best division we have in football, with the way both offensive and both defense can play complete games from start to finish. But again, this NFL season is, again, very interesting. I think we're seeing the teams that we knew were going to be good that are good. We're seeing some surprises. And I think my biggest surprise so far this season is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Atop that AFC North, that division, they look better. Browns are there. I still think the Browns are legit contenders. Obviously, you have the Ravens, who were projected to be that best team in football, best team in that conference. If Big Ben is playing, obviously we didn't know what Big Ben was going to give us after this surgery. Steelers defense is still top 5 in the league. That's no question. They're going to keep them in games no matter what. If Big Ben plays like this, you have James Conner running the ball really well. Juju is playing really good football. And you have the kid Claypool that they just drafted, who had 3 touchdowns a few weeks ago. That's another really good receiver. And even you have Deontay Johnson, just a young core. And with this offense, they haven't missed a beat with anyone departing, whether it be Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown over the past few years. Mike Tomlin gets it done. This team, this franchise, this organization is top notch. It's professional. They know how to go out there and get wins. So I feel like the Steelers are my biggest surprise, just because of that question mark with Big Ben, because we didn't know what we were going to get out of him. So we have a great Thursday night football matchup for you. Giants, Eagles. Both these teams stink. Don't watch it. You don't need to watch it. But maybe you do want to watch it. Maybe you got some money on it. Maybe you got a little FanDuel single game thing going. Maybe a little single game parlay going. I'll give you my best bets on that game next. Nick's best bets. All 3 plays for tomorrow's Thursday night football matchup. Eagles and the Giants. Get right into it. First one, Boston Scott over 49.5 rushing yards. Miles Sanders has been ruled out for this game. The Giants' rushing defense is not good. And I still think that Doug Peterson is going to keep the same thought. Let's keep running the ball so we can, establish a run game, get Carson Wentz to do some play action and throw the ball as well. So I think at 49.5, I really like that line. I think I feel as though Scott's going to probably get 12 to 15 carries, and he might break out for a few of them. So I definitely like the 49.5 rushing yards. Going into that, Carson Wentz over 22.5 completions. I think Wentz is going to be throwing the ball a lot against this Giants defense. 22.5. I think that's the highest I would play it. If you have it at 21.5, obviously take it. If it's 23.5, I know you're thinking, oh, Nick, it's only one more completion. 23 is where at 22.5 is where I would hold it and keep it. Those are my 2 from the Eagles side, Eagles offense. For the Giants, I like Evan Ingram over 36.5 receiving yards. We saw last week, Darius Slayton's ankle foot is still not healthy. He had a pretty good game last week, but he might be limited on a snap count. So I was looking at either Ingram or Golden Tate. I think Ingram's just a better pick. I think Daniel Jones targets him more, trusts him more, being able to work in the slot. You see Ingram works behind the line of scrimmage a lot, even on some touch passes. So those are even receiving yards on touch passes as well. So 36.5. These numbers are not high at all. And the over-under's at 45, so you might think, this could definitely be a low-scoring game. It could be. It could be into a shootout, but overall, I could totally see this being a 28-21 or 28-24 game and could possibly hit the over. So that's why the over-under, I'm passing on that one. And even the spread, Giants have +4.5. Obviously, that means Eagles -4.5. I would lean more towards the Giants just because I haven't seen the Eagles blow out, any team. I don't trust this offense. I don't trust Wentz enough to stay in a lead. Even Zach Ertz, he might be out as well. So they're missing a lot of offensive pieces. So I would stay away from those two. But those are the 3 player props I like. Boston Scott, over 49.5 rushing yards. Carson Wentz, over 22.5 completions. And for the G-men, Evan Ingram, over 36.5 receiving yards. If you want to place those bets soon on your local book, DraftKings, whatever it may be, please gamble responsibly. This has been The Take. October 21st. Wednesday, October 21st, episode 6 complete. Another week in the books. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next week.